Hi guys, I'm JosieWose and today we're going to be reading the Disney Pixar movie collection book of Monsters, Inc. I love this book and the film, and I think it'd be pretty cool to live in a land of monsters. Here we go. Late at night, a little boy awoke to see a monster. The boy screamed. Then the monster screamed too. With a sigh, the teacher turned off the mechanical boy and the simulator machine. She repeated the rules. Never scream and never leave a child's wardrobe door open. That's because it could let in a child, bellowed Mr. Waternoose, the CEO of Monsters Incorporated. The scarers in training gasped. They knew that the screams of human children powered Monstropolis, but children were also dangerous. Touching one could be toxic. Meanwhile, across town, James P. Sullivan was exercising. His assistant and best friend, Mike Wachowski, was coaching him. Sully was a professional scarer at Monsters, Inc., and he needed to keep in top shape. Feel the burn, Mike urged. You call yourself a monster? Monstropolis was in the middle of an energy shortage, so Mike and Sully decided to walk to work instead of drive. Along the way, they waved to their friends and neighbors. At Monsters, Inc., Sully was famous for collecting more screams than any other monster. That was very important due to the city's power shortage. Human kids were getting harder to scare, and Monstropolis needed all the screams it could get. Mike and Sully stopped at the reception desk to say hello to Mike's girlfriend, Celia. Today was Celia's birthday, and Mike was planning a romantic dinner at a fancy restaurant. Celia was very excited. As Mike and Sully prepared for work in the locker room, a monster named Randall suddenly appeared from nowhere. Ah! Mike shrieked. Randall was creepy and mean, and very jealous of Sully. Randall would do anything to be the top scarer. On the scare floor, a giant conveyor belt dropped a child's wardrobe door into each station. When the doors were turned on, they led into the bedrooms of children all over the world. The monsters could step through the doors to scare the children, collect the children's screams in special canisters, and then return to Monstropolis. It was time for the scarers to arrive. As the other workers watched in awe, Sully led the scarers of Monsters, Inc. onto the scare floor. Together, they were the best scream collectors in the business. Sully soon scored big. His canisters filled quickly, and his scream total shot to the top of the scare leaderboard. Slumber party, he explained modestly. Randall snarled. He hated coming second. Suddenly, an emergency alarm bell rang. A scarer named George had returned from the human world with a child's sock on his back. In seconds, a squad from the CDA, Child Detection Agency, arrived to decontaminate him. Poor George. After work, Mike rushed to meet Celia, but Roz, the grumpy file clerk, blocked his way. I'm sure you filed your paperwork, she rasped. Mike had forgotten. Now he'd miss his date with Celia. Luckily, Sully offered to gather the paperwork for him. As he sorted the paperwork, Sully noticed that a door had been left out on the scare floor, its red light still on. Puzzled, Sully peeked through the door. Then something grabbed his tail. It was a child. Sully knew that children were toxic. He tried to get the little girl back into her bedroom, but the child would not leave. Giggling, she ran after Sully as he fled into the locker room. "Kitty," she said happily. Sully dropped the child into a soft bag to keep her hidden. Then he raced to the scare floor to return her home. But Randall was already there, and he had sent the child's door back to storage. What would Sully do now? Meanwhile, Mike and Celia were enjoying a romantic dinner at a restaurant. Mike was just telling Celia what a beautiful monster she was, when suddenly he spotted Sully waving outside the window. Sully tried to explain what was happening, but then the child escaped. "Boo!" she shouted, popping up with a giggle. All the customers screamed and ran. One of them phoned for help. "There's a kid here, a human kid." Mike and Sully caught the little girl in a takeaway box and ran. They were in big trouble. Back in their apartment, Sully and Mike tried not to touch the child. Then Mike tripped, which made the little girl laugh. As she laughed, the lights in the room burned brighter and brighter until they burned out with a pop. Finally, Sully put the child to bed, but she was terrified that something was in the wardrobe. She drew a picture of what was so frightening. It was Randall. Randall was her monster. Sully showed the little girl that there was nothing in the wardrobe. Then he stayed with her until she fell asleep. "This might sound crazy," Sully told Mike, "but I don't think that kid's dangerous." Then he thought a little more. "What if we just put her back in her door?" Mike thought it was a crazy idea. How would they sneak into work? Luckily, they thought of an idea. Soon, the next morning, Mike and Sully disguised the child as a monster and walked straight through the front doors of Monsters, Inc. Sully told everyone that she was a relative, and they believed him. While Mike tried to work out how to fetch the child's door, Sully and the kid hid in the locker room. Soon they were playing hide and seek. "Boo!" she shouted. Sully smiled. He was really starting to like her. But before Mike could leave to find the door's card key, Randall showed up in the locker room. Angrily, Randall ordered his assistant to get the machine up and running. He added that he would take care of the kid. Randall knew about the child. Sully knew the girl needed to go home quickly. As soon as possible, Sully and Mike hurried to the scare floor. They tried to look casual. Maybe if they acted normally, no one would notice that Sully had a human child hidden behind his back. Mike grabbed a card key and ordered a wardrobe door to the scare floor. But Mike had made a mistake. "This isn't Boo's door," Sully said. Boo? Mike couldn't believe Sully had named the child. Oops! Everyone could hear their argument. To look innocent, they pretended to be singing a silly song. In all the confusion, Boo wandered away. Mike and Sully split up to find Boo. Mike headed to the locker room where he was cornered by Randall. He was sure that Mike knew where the kid was. Randall ordered Mike to bring her to the scare floor, promising that he would have her door ready. With Randall's help, Mike thought, maybe they could finally send Boo home. Finally, Sully found Boo. He was so happy to see her. Mike told Sully about Randall's offer, so the two friends carried Boo to the scare floor. Her door was there, but Sully was worried. "We can't trust Randall." Mike disagreed. To prove the door was safe, he went through and was captured by Randall. As Sully and Boo hid, Randall stepped back into the monster world and left the scare floor with Mike trapped in a box. Sully and Boo followed, but they lost track of him in the company's back hallways. Then, Boo found a secret passageway. "Boo!" Sully exclaimed proudly. "Way to go!" At the end of the secret passageway, Sully and Boo discovered Randall and his assistant in a secret laboratory. Randall had invented a scary-looking machine that could pull screams out of kids, and he was about to test it on Mike. Sully rescued Mike just in time. Then the three raced back to Monsters, Inc. They needed to warn Mr. Waternoose about Randall's evil plans. But first, Mr. Waternoose insisted that Sully show off his fiercest roar for the new scare recruits. Boo sobbed in terror. She had finally seen Sully as a frightening monster. Sully tried to explain, but she refused to come near him. For the first time, Sully realized that scaring children was nothing to be proud of. Mr. Waternoose promised to fix everything, but he wasn't telling the truth. He was really working with Randall. Mr. Waternoose shoved Sully and Mike through an open door into the human world. They were banished. In the Himalayas, Sully and Mike met another banished monster, the abominable snowman. But Sully didn't want to chat. Boo needed help. Sully raced towards the local village, hoping to find a wardrobe door that would lead back to Monsters, Inc. At Monsters, Inc., Sully suddenly burst through a door and onto the scare floor. He was back. He raced to the secret lab, where he tore Randall's horrible scream extractor machine to pieces. Sully grabbed Boo and ran away from Randall. Mike had made it back to Monsters, Inc. too. The three of them jumped onto the conveyor belt of doors to try to escape Randall. Suddenly, the conveyor belt stopped moving. The power was out. "Make her laugh," Sully commanded. So Mike started making crazy faces. When Boo giggled, the power returned. Jumping in and out of doors, Sully, Mike, and Boo raced to stay ahead of Randall. But with each leap, the purple monster was getting closer. Finally, Randall snatched Boo away. He had her. When Sully tried to help, Randall knocked him away. That made Boo mad. She fought back. "Ow! Ow! Ow!" Randall howled. "She's not scared of you anymore," Sully said. Working together, Sully, Mike, and Boo beat Randall once and for all, but they weren't safe yet. Mr. Waternoose and the CDA were waiting for them on the scare floor. While Mike distracted the CDA, Sully escaped with Boo. "Give me the child," Mr. Waternoose yelled. Mr. Waternoose chased them into the training room and saw Sully tuck Boo into bed. "I'll kidnap 1,000 children before I let this company die," he shouted as he reached for Boo. Suddenly, bright lights came on. Mike had just videotaped Mr. Waternoose's confession. Now everyone in Monstropolis knew that Mr. Waternoose planned to kidnap human children. He was arrested by the head of the CDA, who turned out to be Roz. "Hello, boys," she said. It was time for Boo to go home. The little girl gave Mike a hug before following Sully into her room. Gently, he tucked her into bed. Sadly, Sully said goodbye and returned to Monsters, Inc. Roz ordered the CDA to shred Boo's door. It couldn't be used for scaring anymore. Sully was not able to visit Boo again. Only one tiny slither of a door was left, lying on the floor. Sully clutched it tightly and kept it. After that, Sully became president of Monsters, Inc., and the scare floor became a laugh floor. It was all because Sully had discovered that laughter produced more power than screams. Monsters, Inc. and Monstropolis was saved. But Sully still missed Boo. He'd saved one of her drawings and often looked at it. One day, however, Mike surprised his pal. He had put Boo's door back together. It was missing just one tiny sliver. Sully inserted the piece, opened the door, and saw... "Boo?" Sully whispered. "Kitty!" an excited voice replied. The two friends were reunited at last. What friendly monsters, and Boo is just the cutest little girl. Thanks for watching, everyone. You can hit like and subscribe for more videos like this. I'll see you next time, boys and girls. Bye!